Welcome back to In the Spotlight. I'm Shirley Lin. Today my guest is Xuan Liu, Xuan, who is, here I go again, a writer, a DJ, a program host, a radio program host at that, and a public speaker, and a father of 2 kids. So we were talking earlier about him, having a big change in his life at the age of 5, and then eventually at the age of 8 when he went to the States as FOB, fresh off the boat, and how he didn't know any English. When people asked him what's his name, he said, I don't know, and that turned out to be his name. Okay, so anyway, but you did fine, because then I think you adapted really easily, really fast, and you just wanted to remain a kid. And I think that's an advantage to you, I think. Well, we can talk about that later. But then you went on to Harvard, okay? And of course, we all know that's a prestigious school in the States. And you studied psychology. And you've written several books before you came out with Get Lucky, 祝你好运, this book here, which are very different from this one you have here.
Yeah,
and I guess, was it because, I want to, what I studied at Harvard, I want to make it into good use. So I'm going to write this book about Get Lucky. Is that how you came up with this book?
No, actually the real reason for writing this is because I realized that psychology can be applied across many, many, many things. And since I left academic psychology, I always thought that it would just be something in the background of my life. But then I realized a lot of my friends around me, actually, they lacked a lot of these, I guess what we call psychological common sense, that I just kind of took for granted. So I would be telling these stories to my friends, and they said it would help them a lot. Then later, I think really, over the past few years, we've seen that in Taiwanese society, that there's a lot of negativity and a lot of complaining.
Especially now.
Yeah.
In the last, 10 years.
Yeah, and it's almost getting to a point of having learned helplessness, when, especially for the younger generation, they think that, I don't have much hope, so let me just, tend to my little coffee shop or little garden or something. Not to say that that's not good, but when you fail to see all the different choices that actually life does provide for you, if you only have the tools to go and figure out your life. And so that's sort of what kind of gelled for me over the past few years, that I can really be useful in this way, that I can use a lot of the training that I had before, plus much of the development in the field of psychology over the past 15 years, especially in the field of positive psychology.
Really?
And there's a big gap. In the States, there's a lot of really great self-help books that are based on positive psychology, written by academics, but really meant for the lay reader, and everyone loves them, right? They're bestsellers, but they get translated here, and they sound like textbooks. And so there's only a certain type of person that would read them, and these people are actually self-help people anyway. The people that really need to be helped, they can't really digest this information. So I felt like I'm in a position where I can try to make this stuff more fun, more easily accessible, and turn it hopefully into a how-to, especially for really busy people out there. Most people are like, they read a book and they're like, oh yeah, I want to change my life. But it requires, a 40-hour week, time commitment. No, you're not going to do that. So what I try to do is try to take all the research and boil it down to the most crucial elements, the stuff that I think would work, even if you just practice it 5 minutes a day. Right? And there are things like that out there. And so basically in this book, I came up with kind of like a program that you can take yourself through, step by step, and to try to create the external and the internal factors for a luckier life.
So, my feeling from this book is that luck doesn't only come to certain people. You're saying that everyone can be a lucky person. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and everyone can also be an unlucky person. See, that's the flip side of it. What I mean to say is that we can never predict what will happen to us from day to day. There are these things that, meteors fall out of the sky. Yes. Right? There's solar flares, all that, right? But what we can do is actually create the conditions for maximum inspiration, where we can get inspired to have lucky breaks, just like the story about Andy Hildebrand. How do we prepare our mind? How do we prepare our ourselves internally to have the right attitude so that we can see the opportunities. And here I cite a study by Professor Richard Wiseman. He's a professor of psychology in England who worked with BBC. And they did really scientific, laboratory studies of lucky and unlucky people. And they found that lucky people have 4 distinctive traits. In that one, they feel that they are going to get luckier, so they're more positive, right? They rely on intuition a lot, and their intuition is sharp. Right? They also they can bounce back from setbacks.
Right.
Even if something bad happens, they think, okay, there's a silver lining behind that cloud. Basically.
Right.
Yeah. And then
the fourth one.
And then the fourth one is that they can use little things that happen around them, these seemingly random events, and string them together to become opportunities.
Okay.
Right. So.
But you know what? I think that it's only those people who are born positive can do those 4 steps. Am I right? I mean, people.
But do you believe that there are some people who are born positive? Okay, granted.
Probably not. I probably don't mean that. But I meant there are people who are generally just positive. Even when bad things happen to them, they're positive. But you try to tell that to someone who's always negative, who's always looking for problems, who's thinking this is not going to work. That's me. It's hard. It's like you have to push yourself to okay, that wasn't a problem. You can change your mind about it and think it positively.
Right.
Right?
Right. Well, the important thing to keep in mind is that positive mindset creates more positive mindset.
Yes.
It's a positive spiral. And negative mindset can create a negative spiral. But actually, it's just like a yin-yang. It's healthy to have a mixture of both.
Oh.
And yeah, so the thing is that just like my dad, when you said that he's a very positive person, no, he's not. He's actually always thinking about the worst thing that can happen in any situation. Yes.
How come he always gives the feeling that he's always very positive? He's always smiling. He always seems like hope is around the corner or something.
Sure. You know what? You can be very aware. You can be mindful of all the dangers out there, but be rational so you can evaluate the risks and then take the emotion out of it so that you don't get into that spiral. Take the things that are the greatest risk, prepare for them, right? And then when you're well prepared, then you can be as positive as you want to be. And it's actually the positivity gives you the motivation and makes things go smoothly. And especially, in interacting with people. But actually having the slightly negative or being mindful of the dangers out there, actually, it sets the conditions where you can prepare properly for it. But a lot of people, they know the dangers that are out there, but they head towards the dangers anyway, and they don't prepare for it. So there's a self-defeating mistake. And then, when something happens, they're like, see, I knew it. And that creates the negative spiral. And then to the point where the next time even a mile away, they say, I'm not going to touch that. I'm not even going to try. I'll give it a shot because I'm sure you're not like that.
Oh, I am. See, I don't show that way, but I am, But, one thing you said in the book that people thought that you are a very extroverted person, but actually you're introverted. And I'm surprised.
I'm totally an introvert.
I'm surprised about that. You don't think of yourself as still an introvert.
Well, I hide it pretty well. A lot of introverts hide it pretty well.
Okay.
And I think people think that introverts have to be, wallflowers, but not really. It's just a state of mind where you're more comfortable. But we also, have times where we step out of our comfort zone, right? And so you just learn to step out of your comfort zone until it becomes comfortable. But still, if you ask me, where's my home, like in my heart, I'm an introvert. And that's part of the reason why I actually became a DJ. See, most people don't know this, and I will actually say this on the record here. Most people think that I become DJs because, hey, it's cool, I want to be partying. No, I became a DJ because I love to be around people, but actually I'm really, really afraid of big crowds.
So you like to be around people, but you're a quiet kind of person around
Yeah, I actually get really withdrawn in these kind of party situations. Yeah, and so when you have, I can be great on one-on-one conversation, right? But you get a group of people, then I usually become like the one that's more quiet.
Same here.
Yeah, but I love to be around people. I love the vibe when people are happy and positive, I get influenced by that. So what's the best way to be? You want to be in a position where you don't really have to talk to people, but you can always be around people, and you can even influence the vibe of the party.
Yeah.
A DJ.
Okay.
See, I never have to talk to anybody, you know? And actually when people come to talk to me, I'm just like, hey, yeah, sorry, I'm busy, you know? It's a great way to be. And as a DJ, you're always one step ahead of the party because you have to think about the next song. So you're kind of like a little bit like the oracle, you know? And I don't like to say I'm the center of the party. I don't want to be the center of the party, but I want to be the person who can sort of like, you know, give the vibe to the environment.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I'm happiest.
Now, in this book, you were mentioning about actually 9 habits of, help me. 9 habits of
getting lucky or
getting
you know,
lucky?
Of a good luck life.
Oh, a good luck life.
Yeah.
And you said that actually out of the 9 habits, the one that's hardest for you was tuning to the right frequency or something?
Yeah.
There is one, right?
Yeah, tuning to the right frequency is a catch term for 3 habits, 3 of the habits.
Okay.
Yeah. And basically, if we think of ourselves as a radar dish, right? You know, even when they're looking in the SETI project or something like that, right? They have to tune to a certain frequency, and then they analyze the data from that frequency, right? If you just look at all frequencies, it's just a mess.
Right.
But we live in a full spectrum world. So all the time we have things bombarding us from all senses. And our brain actually chooses what to focus on. So there are these experiments, you know, Daniel Simons from Harvard University did this one about inattentional blindness, where a bunch of people passing the basketballs, right? And people who are focused on the basketball passing miss a big gorilla that walks right into the court and actually pounds his chest and walks off.
I saw him.
A lot of people, oh, you saw him? Okay, well, great. You know, about 50% of the people will see him on the first viewing, right? But then, you know, a lot of times when you're driving, you know, you can't do like, you know, 3-digit multiplication and drive at the same time. Exactly, because we have a limited bandwidth.
Equipped you are.
Yeah, but we can be in a crowded room and, you know, really noisy environment, and somebody calls your name from really far. And you can be in the middle of a conversation, you hear it. So what does that mean? That means the data stream is coming to our brain chooses what to focus on. So how do you set the frequency so that you tune into the things that are helpful to you and don't keep dwelling on the things that are not helpful to you, the things that are taking up bandwidth? So in that whole section, I basically talk about, first of all, how do you clear your mind? A lot of times we're carrying excess baggage in our mind. There are ways, there are techniques that are proven in laboratory where you can download your thoughts basically and sort of get them out of the way for a brief period to clear your head, right? So you can think clearly. And then when you're thinking clearly, you set those frequencies. You tune into what's most important for you right now, but you're rational about it. So you make a plan. So it's really, it's a rational way. It's nothing like The Secret where you just believe and then something will happen, right? But it's a source of planning, but then, you know, setting the right environment, you put into your mind that, okay, this is what I'm going to focus on, and then you actually widen your focus and you go about your day. And then you actually find all sorts of ways to basically seek random bits of information. And somehow they will all gel together if you tune your frequency right. Yeah, and that's the kind of amazing thing. But because it's actually is in the literature and it's been proven in studies, so I believe that it really works, and it works for me definitely.
Yeah, but that's the part that you say you still kind of need work on in tuning up.
No, the part that I need to work on is actually clearing my mind.
Clearing mind. So
yeah, when people say that, you know, you need to meditate and you need to do that, I can't do that. I can't do that. So this book is written for people who cannot meditate. Yeah, for like more than 5 minutes, I forget about it.
Refresh my memory. So what do you do? I mean, you're not good at meditating. So what was the way?
Well,
I forgot now. You said in the book.
There's 2 or 3 different things that you can do. One of them is you can take a sheet of paper and stream of consciousness, write down every single little thing that comes into your mind.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, David Allen talks about in his Getting Things Done, which is this really big system, executive action system that, you know, a lot of people really subscribe to, and he calls it clearing your psychic RAM. That when you're carrying too many things in your RAM, it's just like a computer. When the RAM is full, the computer slows down, and we're just like computers also. And there's a lot of things where, because of the mind-body connection, when you physically write it down, your brain is tricked into thinking that, well,
putting it down.
It's remembered somewhere. And so it relaxes the hold a little bit. And so when you spend about 5 or 10 minutes clearing your mind like that, then you can get a sense of peace. It's much better than if I'm just going to sit here and sort of think about peaceful things. Right. Yeah, because you already have very narrow bandwidth.
Yeah. I should probably try that. You know, trying to, read through your book, so I didn't really put into practice all the little exercises you have in there, but I'll probably go back on the book and put some of them into practice.
Please let me know if it works for you.
Okay, I will. Well, it's really been a great joy talking to you, and it's amazing what you've done, up to this point of your life, with all the things that you've wanted to do as a kid, and I think you've had your moments, just having those childhood days and everything. But then to think about writing this book, and actually not just to help yourself, but actually to help most people around you, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean,
So.
for me, life is like a story. We're always constructing our narrative, and just
You
like
have
I
a story
said
to
before,
end, yes?
life happened to me, right?
Okay.
And then because my father also used me as a subject to write many popular books, and so I felt like I was of use without me even intentionally becoming that. And now I found a way to make myself hopefully be useful to a great many people,
Great.
and I feel blessed in that way.
That is great. Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you,
I believe you have a story to end our talk today.
Oh, story to end. Well, you know what? I think we'll save that for another time.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's a little
Fine with
heavy.
me.
It's about memory. It's about
Okay.
memory and the role of memory. But maybe
That
I'll write
could
that
be
into
another
a future
book, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, John.
Thank you, Shirley.
Okay. Thank you so much for watching In the Spotlight. I'm Shirley Lin.